So hi guys, my name is Izzy. I'm a sporadic YouTuber. I'm finally doing my top 10 of 2020. I recorded this video multiple times and I just didn't like it. And the last time I recorded it, it was like 50 minutes long and I went to edit it and I'm like, fuck this, I'm not editing it. So I'm gonna try to make this top 10 video quicker, efficient, so I don't have to edit as much. So number 10, ow, I just hit myself in the face with it. Number 10 is gonna be You Should See Me in a Crown by Leah Johnson. I just saw that she just got the Stonewall Award for this book, which is great. Just really exciting. I like cried when I saw it. But yeah, this is a nice buy rep. Number 9 is going to be Kingdom of Souls. I am so excited for Reaper of Souls, which is the next book in the series. This is a fantasy series about a girl who's born into a family of witch doctors. And she desperately wants powers of her own and magic of her own. But magic comes at a price. This book, this is an extremely underrated book, I think. I don't see nearly enough people hype this up. I want to gush about it, but I'm going to try to keep this video short. But it was so good, so freaking good, and heartbreaking, and just a lot happened. A lot. It just kept going, and so good. It's got everything. It's got everything that you would want from fantasy. Everything. The next book on this list is So You Want to Talk About Race. I think this book is pretty self-explanatory. But it's one of those books that I think everyone needs to read, but also, like, it's in the same vein as, like, a feminist manifesto in 15 suggestions. Like, I recommend it to many people. I've gifted it. And, well, not this year, because I didn't do Christmas this year. I didn't do it at all. But it's one of those books that I seriously recommend everyone pick up, because I think everyone has something to gain from it. Next on the list is going to be Magic Misfits. This is by Neil Patrick Harris. It is loaded with diversity, which I did not see coming. It was just delightful. It's a book about a band of misfits that are magic. Cool. They form a magic group together. It's a lot of fun. This book I think would be great for kids of this age range. I also think adults would like it. Like me, Shannon and I are buddy reading this series right now. We are on the 3rd book, and just delightful. This whole series has just been delightful. I love them. The next one is another middle grade book, which is going to be Tunnel of Bones. This is the only sequel, I think, to make this list. Tunnel of Bones is, this is the 2nd book in the Cassidy Blake series. If you don't know anything about it, they're by Victoria Schwab, V.E. Schwab. So Cassidy Blake, she had a near-death experience, and ever since then she can cross over into the veil. She can lift the veil, cross over into the ghostly world. This wouldn't be that big of a deal if her parents weren't on a documentary show that travels around to these ghostly places and talks about the history, as well as doing some paranormal research. So she's in quite a predicament. It's like the perfect premise. I really love it. I love it a lot. So the first book is set in Edinburgh, I believe, and this one is set in Paris, hence the catacombs here. And they're just a mystery. Every one is a mystery, and they're like that sprinkle of darkness that I love in middle grade, and some paranormal, and they're really good. They're really good. I highly recommend for anyone who likes any of that. They're really good. Even if you don't like middle grade that much, I think this would be a good gateway drug into middle grade. It's just delightful. Number 5 is another audiobook that I absolutely recommend. It's another nonfiction audiobook called Invisible Woman. And it is data bias in a world designed for men. It is so fucking good. This book is so good. I highly recommend it to Sarah from Sarah's Reading Nook. I think she would really like this book. Gail, the lovely, beautiful human who got me a Kindle this past year. She recommended it to me, and I finally have read it, and I'm so glad I did. I need a physical copy because it's a really good book. It's a really good nonfiction book, and it talks about the data gap that there is in the world, and how women are basically considered second. Like, men are the default in everything. Not everything, but in the majority of things, and in the majority of data collection, men are considered the default, and a lot of times women and their experiences aren't taken into account. You guys, this book had so much in it. Like, it was so good. Number 4 for me is going to be Gilded Wolves. It's just fantastic. Roshani Chotsky, I hope I said her name right. She's become like a new favorite author just as a human. Like, I follow her on Instagram, and I'm a little in love. I'm not gonna lie, I'm crushing like a little bit. She's absolutely a gorgeous human inside and out. But this book is phenomenal. I have the sequel there. They just released the cover for the 3rd book, Bronze Beauties, and it has melted my heart. It made me cry. It's like really beautiful. But yeah, Gilded Wolves is just phenomenal. Every character in here is hot, by the way. Like, Hypnos is like sexually fluid and beautiful. It has everything that I want in a book. Everything. It's like heisty. It's got a band of characters and lots of flawed characters, and just so much. I'm just gonna put it down. I've hyped about it a lot over this past year. It's a really good book. Highly recommend. I think I've said that for everything. I highly recommend. No shit. That's why it's in my top 10. The next book on this list, I believe this is number 3? I don't know. I've lost count. The next book on this list is going to be a no-brainer. Find Me by Anne Fraser. Anne Fraser is my favorite author. She always has been. Not always, but since I've read her, she has been my favorite author. Yeah, Find Me was no exception. This was so good. As always, I don't think she can disappoint me. I don't think it's possible. She has yet to do so. Yeah, I cannot wait for the next book. So this follows a woman whose, her dad was a serial killer. And may have used her as bait. And yeah. So now they're trying to find all of the bodies of his serial killing. And it's really twisty and insane and nuts, and I loved it. Oh my god, I love this. Number 2 on this list is going to be Four Dead Queens. I did not expect to love this as much as I did. It's like murder mystery meets fantasy. It's insane. This is like, if you like IDTV, I think you'll like this. Yeah, I didn't expect to love it this much. It is about exactly what you think it's about, Four Dead Queens. And it is just, wow. It was a lot. I could not put it down. It was intense and a lot happened. I highly recommend. I have said that for every book on this list. Highly recommend. But if you like murder mysteries and you don't like fantasy that much, I think you'd still like this. If you like fantasy and you don't like murder mysteries as much, maybe you'd like this. I don't know. But I do know that this was awesome. And number 1 on this list shouldn't really be a surprise. I just whistled. It shouldn't really be a surprise. This is probably the only book on this list that I will not say I highly recommend, because I don't think everyone will like this book. I think this is a very acquired taste. If you know who Richard Ayoade is and you like him, I think that you'll like this book, obviously. It's very much in his voice, because he wrote it, and it's a nonfiction book. So yeah, his voice really rings out in this. This is a weird-ass book. It is based on... It's a weird-ass premise. So he wrote this book about a really bad movie called View from the Top that came out in 2003? I can't remember. Really, really bad movie. Really bad movie. Starring Gwyneth Paltrow. Christina Applegate's in it. Mike Myers is in it. Mark Ruffalo is in it. And he's the reason why I've even seen this movie in the first place. I've seen this movie multiple times, it's really bad movie. But anyway, it follows Gwyneth Paltrow, and the whole premise of the movie is her trying to achieve her biggest goal in life, which is to be an international air stewardess. That's her goal. And yes, the movie is, like I said, as bad as it sounds. It's pretty bad. It's really bad. But this book talks about that movie. It intertwines his own life. It calls for the canonization of that movie. And it's just so, it's a whirlwind, and I don't think I've laughed this hard. This was probably the hardest I laughed all year, which is not saying much because 2020 was a shit show, but this book was phenomenal. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that there's an entire footnote in this book that goes on to 2 pages about what cleaning product this motherfucker uses on his DVDs. I can't. It's so good. It's such a good book, but like, again, I don't recommend this to everyone because I don't think you will like it. Like, I saw some people, when I first read this book, some people were like, oh, I'm gonna buy that book, or oh, I added that to my list, and I'm like, I don't think you're gonna like it, but okay. It's a really weird book, but it's a phenomenally weird book. I love it so much. Anyway, this is my #1 book of 2020. And probably one of my favorite books of all time. Like, I absolutely love that book so much. So much. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I will see you in the next video. I don't know when that will be. Peace, I'm out. Goodbye, all the fun things. I love you. Bye.